it possible to beat an entire Mario game while carrying a lazy Luigi on our backs? This is a twist on the whole Luigi wins by doing nothing meme that you're probably familiar with, except instead of Luigi winning Mario Party minigames, he actually saves the princess by doing nothing. Today, we're gonna go back in time in the year 2009 when New Super Mario Bros. Wii was released, and we are going to try to beat this game in a different way. The rules are simple. We are going to try to beat New Super Mario Bros. Wii while playing as Mario, but we'll add a second controller playing as Luigi. The thing is, I'm playing this game alone, and I am not Sakurai. I cannot control two controllers at once, so we'll actually have to carry a non-moving Luigi with us at all times. While carrying Green Mario, some of your abilities are restricted, such as wall jumps or to use fire flowers as your hands are already full. We also cannot carry Luigi around while swimming underwater, meaning we'll have to avoid those levels at all costs. Dropping Luigi is allowed to go through some narrow spaces. And obviously, we cannot use the bubble ability as this would be quite lame. Now that everything has been set, let's find out if we can actually beat the entire game with Luigi doing nothing. World 1-1 is our first stop, obviously, and as you can probably tell, this won't be much of a problem, cause this level takes place in a peaceful mushroom kingdom. The level gives you a propeller mushroom in the very first question block, and catching it with Luigi will allow you to use the propeller ability. So, this makes the level super easy, except if you get hurt and that happens. Oh well, oopsie, I guess Luigi is stuck there forever now. 1-2 is next, and this one takes place underground, so this means you'll have to drop Luigi from time to time, as some areas are too narrow for both Mario and Luigi to fit into. Despite that, you can clear out pretty much every obstacles without getting hurt. Well, besides that red pipe over there near the end. 1-3 marks the return of our buddy Yoshi. And in this quest, Yoshi is actually quite useful. The rules were simple. We have to carry Luigi with us at all times, but I did not specify how though. Hop on Yoshi and then eat Luigi and you can complete this stage like it's nothing. But make sure not to get hurt though, because when Yoshi gets hit, he spits out poor Luigi and this can happen. Oh no, Luigi. Oh, that is quite tragic. 1-Tower is next, and vertical levels are the ones where carrying Luigi gets quite annoying. There are lots of spots in this tower where you'll need to drop and push Luigi because the two of you cannot fit in there together. Plus, some of those jumps can get really difficult as you're constantly hitting Luigi on the ceiling, preventing you from actually making the jump. You'll have to be strategic and throw him many times. Of course, if you manage to get your hand on a propeller suit for Luigi, then this level becomes a piece of cake. The boss fight against Larry Koopa is super easy and will be done in 10 seconds. With that tower out of the way, we can move on to World 1-4, which according to the world map will take place on a bridge above water. Except when the level starts off, you quickly realize you'll be going down that pipe and it leads underwater. Oh, as I mentioned in the rules, we can't do anything with Luigi while being underwater. We can push him, but that's worthless. We can't pick him up or make him bounce on Mario's head. So yeah, this level is actually not possible for this quest. Thankfully, World 1 has a beautiful cannon that could prove to be helpful for this quest. We just have to find a way to get to it, and that way is in World 1-3, which has a secret exit. Basically, grab a Yoshi, eat Luigi, and make your way up to this point. Then do a flutter jump on top of the platform here, and you'll find a secret pipe up above, leading to a secret exit. Nice! This cannon actually leads us directly to World 5. World 5-1 is a level that contains a lot of plants we have to jump over, but that's quite easy. You'll soon reach out some vines though, and if Luigi grabs onto one of those vines, there's nothing we can do for him. He'll be stuck on them forever. If you throw Luigi, he will not grab onto the vines, which proves to be quite helpful. But there are lots of plants waiting for him on the platforms down there, and there's no way we can be fast enough to just grab Luigi back in between all of the throws. We'll need something to defeat those plants, you know, something like a fire flower. Let's go back to World 1 and enter the mushroom house to play the minigame, and hopefully we'll get what we want. Except the thing is, you can't actually do that. This game gives you turns to hit the panels for the minigame, so when it's Luigi's turn, well, then nothing happens. Oh boy. Let's just go back to a level we've already cleared before, like, you know, 1-2, and get a fire flower there. Now the trick here is to either use a spin jump to defeat the plants, or to simply drop Luigi and defeat them as Mario. Once the platform is cleared, throw Luigi and join him using the vine yourself. These Luigi throws are quite scary, especially this final one where you have to throw him quite far. Thankfully, it is all possible. Those vines prevent me from playing 5-2 right now, so let's just go to 5-3. And this level is the home of those weird spider enemies that I disliked in my new Super Mario Bros. U playthrough, and they're even more annoying this time around, as you'll have to defeat them to complete the level. And you know what, don't try to hide under them while carrying Luigi, as you'll be way too tall for that and he'll get hurt. The vines are now out of the way, so off to 5-2 we go, and this level is home to lots of wigglers. We'll have to jump and bounce on tons of them throughout the stage. The second part, which takes place underground, is super fun and will force you to drop Luigi to avoid wigglers and to do some impossible looking jumps in very narrow spaces. It's a super fun level. 5-Tower is up, and once again, climbing up on a tower while carrying Luigi on our shoulders makes it a little bit more challenging. But if you're being careful and dodging all of the various enemies and stage hazards, you'll soon reach the boss Iggy Koopa, who's very easy to beat. 5-4 is a level where you hop aboard a floating platform and enjoy a relaxing cruise on the poison waters of this level. Okay, so there's actually tons of enemies attacking the raft, so it's not really that relaxing. Especially the final parts where piranha plants are falling from the sky. Whew. Protecting Luigi amongst all those hazards is not the easiest task, but it is possible. 5-Ghost House is up, and it's your typical ghost house basically, meaning it will be filled with fake doors, dark hallways, booze, and so many ways to go, turning it into a maze. Carrying Luigi doesn't add any difficulty whatsoever, thankfully. 5-5 is up, and this level is actually an easy auto-scroller taking place in the sky. You'll have to jump on those flying stingrays, and you'll need to dodge some bullet bills along the way. This level is not very difficult, it is just long. Really long. 5-Castle is next, and this one starts off with a big problem. You actually have to climb on those fences in the background in order to clear out this big lava pit. But the thing is, we can't do that while carrying Luigi, and even if we could, Luigi would be stuck on those things. I had the idea of maybe trying to use a propeller suit from World 1-1 to try to glide above the lava, but it was no use. I kept hitting the ceiling or, you know, just touching the lava. But eventually, after lots and lots of tries, I found out that if you are small Mario and propeller Luigi and do a pixel perfect spin jump, you can actually land on top of this thing here to then glide to the next one, and so on. You'll need to keep the propeller suit at all times to reach the end, as there are tons of very dangerous gaps full of lava, and you can barely reach the other side with a perfect propeller jump. This was intense, but it is actually possible to beat it. Yes! And after that, the boss is not very easy, as you can only attack him when he's down there, as you know, trying to jump on him on top is impossible while carrying Luigi. And with this done, we can now reach World 6. And 6-1 is home of those ledges we need to grab onto. The problem is, if Luigi grabs onto those, he can't get out, so we'd have to avoid them all. I went back to World 1-1 to get a propeller suit once more, and I could clear the first couple of ledges, but at one point there's way too many of those to dodge and the propeller suit just doesn't cut it anymore. Yeah, this level is actually a big problem. Thankfully, we can head back to World 5 in the spoopy ghost house to get a secret exit leading to yet another cannon. And this one leads us to World 8. 8-1 starts off with a level featuring some volcanoes in the background shooting some hot lava rocks right at Mario and Luigi. They come from the top part of the screen, so obviously, as Mario carrying Luigi, you're a tall target for those things, so you'll have to be extra careful. There's also a lot of pillars of lava that will force you to stop and wait for the perfect time to go. This is a very stressful level, but it's not that hard if you take your time. 8-2 takes place in a dark cavern that is full of spinning circular platforms. There are lots of spiky boulders rolling on those, and if Mario gets hit by one of them, he'll drop Luigi, and this guy will also get hurt. So, you have to be super careful. 8-3 also takes place in a dark cave, but this time there are some huge lava waves near the bottom part of the screen, so you'll have to use precise timing to make your way to the very end of this stage. But you know what? It's kind of easy. Let's go to 8-Tower, and this tower features lots of fire bars and platforms that appear from the walls. This will force you to pay close attention to the timing if you want to be able to climb up there. There's this one part near the end where you can get squished by the moving platforms if you're not being careful. This part is actually very stressful, but you can thankfully drop Luigi in that safe space there only to grab him back quickly to go back up. The boss fight against Kamek is a little bit annoying because you have to stand on those moving blocks, but they are so close to each other that fitting in between all of them with Luigi is far from being easy. Stay near the top part of the battle arena and make sure to quickly climb back up after attacking Kamek and you'll be all good. Next up is World 8-4 and it is an underwater stage. What? Seriously, Nintendo? A water level in a lava world? What's wrong with you? Well, I guess this is it, guys. It is the end of the quest. Or is it? There's actually a secret exit in World 8-2, so let's go back there quickly and epically. Make sure you are small Mario and Luigi if you want to fit in that secret wall, and then you'll reach the secret pipe. This leads you to a brand new stage, 8-7. Now this is a fun one, because it involves a super fast skeleton roller coaster that you have to ride while dodging lots of lava pillars on your way. To be fair, having Luigi on your shoulder doesn't really make this level more difficult, so if you thought this one was easy, it will still be, and if you had trouble with it, you'll have the same troubles. 8-Airship is the next level, and this one is not too difficult. Although you'll have to drop Luigi sometimes in order to spin the screws required to move on to the next area. After a lot of platforming on those moving things, you'll reach Bowser Jr., and to defeat this dude, you need to do some ground pounds on the floor to make the moving bomb bounce on Jr.'s Koopa Clown car. This forces you to drop Luigi to do so, which leaves him defenseless. So, make sure he doesn't get hit by Jr.'s fireballs, and you'll soon defeat him. And there we go, guys. We have saved the prince. Oh, well, I guess not. Turns out there's a huge castle hiding over there. Welcome to 8-Bowser, the final stage, and it is a very classic castle stage at first, having lots of fire bars and lava bubbles, nothing out of the ordinary. You'll soon reach those falling platforms, which will force you to drop Luigi with very precise timing in order to make it alive. After going down this vertical room that is really reminiscent of New Super Mario Bros. 2's final boss fight, you'll reach Bowser. And defeating him is pretty simple, as usual, as you just have to wait for him to jump, and then you just go under him and hit the switch. And there we go, we have saved the prince. Oh, well, I guess not, again. Introducing Big Bowser, the final boss of this game, and it's more of a level than it is a boss fight. you'll want Bowser to spit his fireballs to clear out the path for you and Luigi. And this is especially important in the final parts, where it's literally impossible to fit through the path without dropping Luigi first. And you know, dropping Luigi is really scary above this whole lava pit. Eventually, you'll make it to the final switch, and there we go. We have saved the prince. Did we do it? We did it for real? It's not a joke anymore? Finally! So, is it possible to beat New Super Mario Bros. Wii while carrying Luigi and him not doing anything? Yes, it is possible. We actually had lots of problems with underwater stages, first off in World 1 and then in World 8, and we also had the very difficult castle in World 5 and the impossible ledges in World 6. But thanks to the many secret exits and cannons, we made it to Bowser and defeated him like a true epic gamer. Saving the princess is pretty cool, but doing it with your brother is even better. That is the beautiful bond that unites my dudes Mario and Luigi. But everybody knows that Luigi wins by doing nothing, which is why today we are bringing back a challenge from last year. Back in the old days of 2019, we attempted to beat New Super Mario Bros. Wii while carrying Luigi at all times. And did we do it? Well, I'm not telling you. Tap the card up there on your screen if you want to know the answer. The thing is, once you're done with all 8 worlds in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, you unlock a secret world shaped like a star, World 9. Can we beat this one while we carry a sexy Luigi with us? The rules are simple. We are going to try to beat the secret stages in World 9 as Mario, but we'll add a second player playing as Luigi. Sadly, I am all alone at home and I don't have a friend to control him, which means I'll have to use Mario to carry Luigi around. We cannot control Luigi, and if he dies, we have to die as well and start over. Speaking of starting over, the secret stages in World 9 do not contain a single checkpoint. So if we die at any point in a stage, we start all the way from the beginning of this stage. I know you can turn players into bubbles in this game, but that is considered cheating and will not be used for this quest. The only times you can let go of Luigi is to enter a pipe, but you gotta grab him back as soon as you exit that pipe. Now that everything has been set, let's see if we can beat all of the levels in this special world. Here we go. World 9-1 is a very difficult level to start off this quest with. It looks all games and fun, starting off with a couple slopes containing Koopas, Goombas, and ugly coins, all of which can be easily avoided, even while carrying Luigi around, but you'll soon reach the evil spinning rectangles of death. Those things are annoying to deal with, because you have to keep jumping on them while waiting for some enemies to move out of the way, and if a platform is tilted too much, well, you just fall down like a dum-dum. But the worst is yet to come, as those green pipes will soon show their true colors. Well, green, but what I mean is that they all contain ugly, disgusting, evil piranha plants spitting some hot and dangerous fireballs. So now you have to keep jumping on those annoying spinning platforms and avoid fire-spitting plants all at once. Yeah, this is easier said than done, especially this part where you need to jump in between the two pipes before the plants come out to eat you. It took me a couple of tries to finally do it, but thankfully, once that is done, the rest of the level is a total joke. And with that done, we have completed this first stage. World 9-2 is the beach themed stage featuring some platforms that move in different direction when you step on them. Down there in the water, there's an evil porcupuffer that keeps moving left and right, waiting for the perfect moment to get a bite of Luigi's booty. And who wouldn't? Like seriously, he's got quite the booty. You'll soon reach this part with the vine, and if you watched the previous installments in this series, then you know vine vines are actually pretty dangerous in that quest. If you jump onto a vine, characters automatically climb on it. In a normal playthrough, you'd swing around and then jump off the vine onto the other side, but we can't actually do this for Luigi during this challenge. This means that Luigi is stuck onto the vine forever. Going under it would be very dangerous because of the Porcupuffer, but I had an idea I wanted to try. Let's grab some mini mushrooms and re-enter that stage. One skill that you gain as Mini Mario is the ability to run on water, and you can even do it while carrying Luigi. This is pretty helpful to dodge those pesky vines, but don't let your guard down as this Porcupuffer is still pretty dangerous. As Mini Mario and Luigi, the gravity is different and you kind of moon jump, so this will really help out for the rest of this stage, which contains a lot of Koopa Troopas, moving blocks, and platforms. Dodge all of those obstacles to clear this level. World 9-3 is home to a lot of aiming bullet bills. In fact, there are so many bullet bills that you can actually get an infinite source of 1-up by bouncing from one bullet to the other over there. That's kinda cool, but pointless, cause I have 99 lives. Anyways, this level contains a couple of dangerous jumps, but you can always make it to the other side by doing a spin jump. Soon you'll reach this part with the moving platforms and the banzai bills. They're not too difficult to dodge and you'll quickly reach this green pipe, which marks the end of this explosive stage. World 9-4 is an auto-scroller, and you know how much I love those. That's a lie, I don't like them at all. This stage contains more fire-spitting piranha plants, so you'll have to watch out for those. The most difficult part is over here with those two moving blue pipes. You actually have to play Flappy Birds now, and you have to go in between the pipes, and if you end up over or undershooting the jump, well, you just fall down and die, which is pretty sad. The second part of the stage contains a lot of those arrow platforms that move when there's more than 2 characters on it. Considering you're always carrying Luigi, well, those platforms will always move when you climb aboard them. Be extra careful and you'll soon reach the final pipe that leads to the flagpole. World 9-5 is up, and this one's a vertical icy tower that you have to climb. Along the way, there's gonna be lots of sliding penguins and other hazards like moving blocks and fuzzies. Clearing this stage involves pushing those switches to create platforms that allow you to move up, and this one is really tricky because it's really easy to get hit by an enemy, and that leaves poor Luigi alone defenseless. There's a penguin suit in that question mark block there that you'll definitely want to get because it prevents you from sliding on the ice, which really makes this stage a lot easier. Keep climbing up and you'll eventually reach the end of the stage and be all good. Take off your winter jacket because World 9-6 doesn't feature a single ice block. This stage is home to hot burning lava and lots of moving platforms. You'll have to time your jumps moving on them, and all of this while avoiding the evil lava geysers that keep bursting out of the lava. There's gonna be a couple of flame chumps on your path, so you'll also need to be avoiding the fire they spit at you. Eventually, you'll reach this part where you need to run super fast on the donut platforms, and sometimes there's a flame chump waiting for you on the other side, and that's pretty cheap, so be on the lookout for that. Keep moving from one platform to the next, and you'll soon reach the end of the stage. Next up is World 9-7, and I hope you packed up on lives before attempting this one. Often named the hardest new Super Mario Bros. Stage ever, it won't really be nice to us during this quest. This entire stage is covered in ice, but there's tons of piranha plants spitting out fireballs at you, and if you dodge the fire, well, it melts the ice, revealing evil munchers, meaning you can't walk on it anymore. Along the way, there's gonna be a couple of Goombas hiding in those spiky plants, and you'll often have to wait for the piranha plants to burn them out of your path. After dodging a whole lot of fireballs, you'll eventually reach this part here with the ice bridge. So the goal here is to make it past those 5 pipes there, each of them containing more fire-spitting plants. You can't really have any power-up going in there, as you'll be too tall and won't fit. so you'll have to be Small Mario and Small Luigi. The thing is, all of the plants up there and the ones underneath the ice bridge will melt some blocks, eventually destroying all hopes of making it to the other side. So to beat this part, you'll have to wait for the plants to all spit their fire to then quickly run underneath the pipes without falling down. It is super tricky, and once you're on the other side, well, watch out, as there's gonna be a fire bro that throws bouncing fireballs, melting tons of blocks underneath your feet. Quickly move over to the platform and defeat those guys to finally reach the end of this stage. Not gonna lie, that was the hardest one so far, and I totally get why this stage has a bad reputation. World 9-8 is going to be the final stop today, and hopefully I'll have enough battery in my Wiimote to make it to the end. This stage is full of bouncing clouds. You'll want to grab the propeller suit in that box with Luigi as soon as you start off the stage. Giving Luigi the suit allows Mario to spin, to fly and glide, just like he would in a normal playthrough. Having this ability, you can now dodge the many fuzzies along the way and slowly glide your way down to safety. Heck, even the giant king bills at the end of the stage that break blocks are no match for us in this suit. Just make sure to avoid them all and you'll quickly reach the final flagpole and complete World 9 for good. So, is it possible to beat the special World 9 in New Super Mario Bros. Wii while carrying Luigi at all times? Well, yes, it is. We did have a couple of stages that were more difficult than others, and we also had to figure out a way to dodge the vine in 9-2, but thankfully there were no roadblocks like underwater stages or something else, so we were actually able to beat this one quite easily. You're probably familiar with the Luigi Wins by Doing Nothing series of video that is very popular on YouTube. Basically, most of these videos involve Luigi winning some Mario Party minigames by doing literally nothing. I've also seen some other types of video where Luigi wins Smash Bros matches while not moving at all, and today I want to add my touch to this meme. Is it possible to beat New Super Mario Bros. U while carrying Luigi on your shoulders? So in a way, can Luigi win the game by doing nothing? The rules are simple. We are going to try to beat the game playing as Mario, but while carrying a non-moving Luigi with us at all times. While this may not seem like an actual challenge at first, let me tell you about the things you won't be able to do while you're carrying the boy. Mario can no longer wall jump when he's carrying something, or someone in that case. Having an acorn suit for Mario doesn't mean anything anymore, as we cannot glide when we carry Luigi. We also cannot swim underwater when carrying him, and if we drop him to the bottom of the ocean, there is no way to grab him back. So we're going to have to avoid all underwater courses during this quest. Carrying Luigi makes Mario way taller, so going through narrow spaces will be quite difficult, as we'll have to fiddle around with our boy Luigi to try to get him to fit. Now that everything has been set, let's find out if we can actually beat this game with Luigi doing absolutely nothing. World 1-1 is the very first level of the game, and this one is pretty simple to clear while carrying Luigi, as there are no real problems whatsoever. The area is wide and open and there aren't that many enemies, so you'll clear this one in no time. World 1-2 takes place underground, and this first part with the yellow pipe will force you to drop Luigi and push him on the other side, as you're way too tall to fit both underneath it. You'll actually have to do that quite a lot in this level, as there are lots of very narrow spaces. Thankfully, there's not a lot of enemies, so this level will be easily completed. World 1-Tower does contain a lot of spinning cogs and gears, and most of them will leave enough room for both Mario and Luigi to fit into, but sometimes you'll just have to throw Luigi so that he gets pushed, as there's not enough space for the both of you. Defeating the Mad Lad Boom Boom will be just as easy as it always is, and you'll be able to move on to World 1-3. this new level introduces our boy Yoshi, and I wish we could bring that guy everywhere, as you can literally just eat Luigi and play the level like you normally would. Now that's a great use of Yoshi's big stomach. You normally carry around a pink baby Yoshi in World 1-4, but we sadly can't do that this time, as we have to carry our boy Luigi instead. Even though Luigi doesn't have any gliding ability like Yoshi does, this level still contains enough platforms to get to the end and clear it. World 1-5 contains a lot of piranha plants, but you're given a fire flower near the beginning, so don't be afraid to drop Luigi in order to defeat some enemies with fireballs. He won't mind, he'll just be waiting patiently looking at the void.
Bye bye.
World 1-Castle is next, and this is where I learned a very cool ability. If Luigi is the one that has an acorn suit, then you'll be able to glide like you normally would if you were not carrying anything. This is super helpful, and from now on, if I see an acorn suit, I'm saving it for my boy Luigi. Oh, and if you go down that yellow pipe to get the star coin, once you go back up, make sure to wait for Luigi to be completely out of the pipe before trying to pick him back up, or else you'll do a spin jump and well, you're in big trouble now. The battle against Lemmy will not be difficult at all, as you can just play it like you normally would. You can even throw Luigi on Lemmy's head if you want to. Next up is World 2 Layer Cake Desert, and 2-1 does feature a couple of tricky jumps in between those big spooky statues, but you know, nothing that will stop us. World 2-2 will force you to be very careful when going through the cave, as it's full of sand geysers and evil pokies on the ceiling, forcing you to sometimes throw Luigi before you in order to make it alive. The second part of the level gives you a Yoshi, so once again, we can eat Luigi and proceed through the level easily. World 2-3 takes place in a very dark cave, and usually you'd grab some yellow baby Yoshis to be able to actually see where you are going, but as you can imagine, this is not possible this time. You'll just have to slowly make your way to the end of the level while making sure not to get attacked by an enemy that you couldn't see in the dark, but it's actually easier than it looks. World 2-Tower is up, and you can thankfully spin those screws even when holding onto Luigi, so you'll be able to get those platforms to move where you need them to be without having to throw him away, so that's kinda cool. I was worried about this final part with the big cannons, but the screen does pan out super far away, so Luigi doesn't get killed or turn into a bubble, and we can enter the big red door and defeat the Mad Lad Boom Boom once more. World 2-4 is the land of the fishy boopkins. Hey look, they're also holding things on top of their heads. I don't feel alone anymore. This level is pretty easy. World 2-5 is also very easy, as the main gimmick here are those spikes throwing spike boulders from those tall mushrooms platforms up above, but even when carrying Luigi, you're still not tall enough to touch them and get damage, so you know, that's pretty cool. World 2-6 is easy at first, but then Lakitu appears, and now that I am holding Luigi, I can confirm that Lakitu is super close to you in this level, and avoiding him isn't really easy. You'll have to make some very precise jumps in between the ground enemies and Lakitu, but reaching the goal won't be a problem. World 2-Castle is full of moving platforms, and getting inside of those narrow spaces while carrying Luigi is nerve-wracking. I had trouble with this part in particular, as you can't fit as big Mario and Luigi, so you'll either have to come back as small Mario and Luigi, or you know, just throw Luigi before hopping onto the platform yourself. I really had trouble with this part, as you can see, but once it's done, we finally reach Martin Koopa, and defeating him is as easy as all of the previous bosses. You know, I don't have any high expectations for World 3 Sparkling Waters, as it's a water world, and as I said earlier, going underwater while carrying Luigi isn't actually possible. Anyways, we'll see. World 3-1 starts off with a beach theme level, and there's tons of water sprouts everywhere, so going underwater is never required. You'll easily reach the end in no time. But then comes World 3-2, and after going down that pipe, you'll realize that this is the end. There is no way to carry Luigi underwater, so this level will be completely impossible for this quest. Thankfully, New Super Mario Bros. U does allow you to go to World 3 or 4 in any order you want, so instead of going down there, let's go up to the Frosted Glacier and hope for the best. World 4-1 is actually pretty easy, although I have to admit that these spinning stars can be quite annoying, as they'll often make you drop Luigi if you try to go under them. This won't stop you from getting to the end easily. World 4-2 is not that difficult either, as you can jump on top of the penguins and you can fit in between all of those narrow spaces. World 4-Tower is home to a lot of falling icicles, and huge ones too, but this won't be much of a problem as you'll easily reach the top of the tower and get to fight the Mad Lad once again. And once again, it's gonna be easy. World 4-3 will force you to stop and wait for the plants to get out of your way during the first part. After the checkpoint, you'll get a Yoshi, so we'll do the usual gobble loogie strategy to get to the end. World 4-4 contains a whole lot of bullet bills, and this is pretty dangerous for our boy Luigi. Dodging them is actually harder than it looks, but be careful and you'll be okay. World 4-5 does contain a lot of icicles in some narrow spaces, so it's actually a scary one, but it's possible. At one point you'll reach this ice bro, and if he freezes Mario, Luigi will slowly move and fall down. Oh. Goodbye, my Luigi. Goodbye, my friend. World 4-Ghost House is up, and this level is such a maze. I've played it for so many times and yet I always get lost and I never know where to go. World 4-Castle contains a lot of scary precise jumps, but thankfully, even with Luigi on your shoulders, you'll have no trouble reaching the end of the level. Wendy Koopa is up, and defeating her is super easy once again. We are now entering Soda Jungle, and it starts off with the airship level, and you'll soon see we're gonna have a problem here. The first part is pretty easy, as it takes place on top of the airship, but as soon as you go down the pipe, you'll reach an underwater part? Seriously, Nintendo? Water inside a flying boat? You think that makes sense? So yeah, we can't actually beat this level without turning Luigi into a bubble or something. So you know, we're going to have to find another way of going further in this quest. There's actually a secret exit in World 2-4 that we are going to try. It is located near the end flag pole, but you're going to have to be little Mario and Luigi in order to be able to fit in there and enter the secret pipe. This leads us to World 2-Ice Block, which is kind of easy and doesn't feature any part that will cause trouble. Just carry Luigi to the flagpole and this will create a brand new path that leads to Soda Jungle right after the infamous airship level. Oh, now this is epic. World 5-1 is one of my favorite levels, the Jungle of the Giants. Everything is huge here, huge blocks, huge enemies, but the difficulty is not huge. World 5-2 contains those big logs that will spin if you touch them. At one point, I dropped Luigi because he couldn't fit his big head underneath that block, and I almost lost him, but I managed to grab him back and save him. Whew, that was really close. World 5-3 features those annoying spider-like enemies, and I really hate those guys. Thankfully, they are not going to be trouble for the quest, so we'll easily complete this level and reach the next one. World 5-Tower is up and it features those giant snake blocks and those big spiky pendulum things. You can dodge them all in the first section of the tower, but the second part is way more difficult for the Mario Brothers tower. I ended up having to sacrifice a little bit of Luigi's health in order to get to the top. I swear he's going to be okay, guys, okay? Don't be mad. I really had to do it. The Boom Boom fight is just as easy as all of the previous ones. World 5-Ghost House is such an annoying level. There are a million doors and I never know where to go. Having Luigi on your shoulder doesn't change anything to the level, so you'll beat it easily. World 5-4 is such a beautiful level, but as you can see by my gameplay, I just speedrun through it, so it's an easy one. Make sure to go inside that pipe to get the secret exit, as that's the only exit that leads to the next level. Even though we can already get to World 5-6, let's check out 5-5 just for funsies. And oh, it's an underwater stage. Okay, I'm thankful we can skip it. World 5-6 is a level with seesaws all over the place, but beating it is quite easy. World 5-7 usually wants you to bounce on this giant wiggler to avoid touching the poison water underneath you, but with Acorn Luigi, we can spin jump above most of the platforms and glide to the flagpole. So yeah, that's kinda cool. World 5-Castle has those big lava waves that come and go, but jumping above them is quite easy. World 6-1 is full of fuzzies and stretching platforms, but you thankfully have Yoshi to your disposal, so we can eat Luigi and get to the end of the stage in no time. World 6-2 is going to be a tough one. While it's not an underwater level per se, you'll have to get in and get out of the water at multiple places during the stage, and sadly, as you know, we can't really swim underwater with our boy Luigi. So yeah, this level is impossible. But what do we do now? We're stuck here in World 6. Huh. Well, we got kinda far, so I'm kinda satisfied. Alright guys, see ya! I'm kidding. Remember that annoying World 5-Ghost House level from earlier? Well, there's actually a secret exit in this stage, and it allows us to skip World 6 entirely. We're just gonna have to beat World 5-Beatles first, and while this stage is nerve-wracking since, you know, it takes place in the air, having an acorn suit also makes it way easier so we can easily beat it. We finally reach World 7, skipping the entire World 6 and the problematic level, so hopefully we'll be good from now on. World 7-1 is up, and it's not very difficult and doesn't feature anything special, so let's move on. World 7-2 isn't a very interesting stage either. You can even get Yoshi in this one, so yeah. World 7-3 features those arrow platforms that only move when you're on top of them. Make sure to drop Luigi over there so that you can crouch and fit under that platform and you'll be all good. World 7-Tower will force you to avoid a lot of fireballs that those annoying fire bros keep throwing out there. Spin jump your way up the tower and you'll soon reach Kamek, which isn't a very difficult boss to be honest. World 7-Ghost House is next, and there's one part here with those beautiful poles that you normally have to climb, but with Luigi on our back, we have a big problem. There is no way to climb it, and you cannot throw Luigi up there, so yeah, we'll actually have to come back with an acorn suit and do a spin jump. World 7-4 is a super easy level where you bounce on those happy clouds, so no worries to have in here. World 7-5 is a special stage because it features those floating water bubbles, and you know, normally you'd want to stay as far away from water as possible in this quest, but you know, those bubbles allow you to swim up and jump to the next one, so yeah, even when carrying Luigi, this level is actually possible. World 7-6 is home of the snake block platforms, but with Acorn Luigi, I decided to beat it without touching those. It's way faster that way. World 7-Castle is up, and this one is full of moving platforms and narrow spaces. Trust me, you'll want to stay as Small Mario and Luigi in order to fit through this entire stage. It is scarier than it looks, so you'll quickly reach the boss anyways if you're being careful. Defeat Ludwig and you're good to go. World 7-Airship is up, and thankfully this one doesn't contain any underwater section, so we'll quickly reach Bowser Jr. and this fight will be quite easy. Alright, let's go to Peach's Castle, the final world of the game. World 8-1 is actually not that difficult. There are some fireballs falling from the sky, but try to stay low with Luigi and you'll dodge them all without any major problem. World 8-2 is a very easy and safe cruise on this beautiful platform. Avoid the lava monsters and all of the micro Goombas and other enemies and you'll reach your destination. World 8-3 is super easy and there are plenty of space for you to fit with your bro on your back, so no worries. World 8 Tower is a little bit annoying because there's a lot of hazards while going up this platform, and carrying Luigi around makes you a bigger target for those electric things and other enemies, so you'll want to be extra careful. World 8 Castle is up, and the first part of the stage is quite easy. Dodging Bowser Jr. isn't that much of a problem. Wait, Luigi, what are you doing, dude? Who told you to get out of my arms? Welcome to the final battle against Bowser. And the first part is quite easy, as you can just run underneath him and hit the switch. The real difficulty comes from the second part of the fight. You see, you have to dodge Bowser's fireballs while waiting for Junior to attack you. And once you jump on him, Mario will automatically enter the Koopa Clown car, thus leaving poor Luigi alone and defenseless. It's kind of random though. Sometimes Bowser Jr. will completely destroy Luigi, and sometimes you'll be fast enough to defeat Bowser without Jr. getting a chance to attack him. It's really weird and random, but it is possible. And there we go, we defeated Bowser and saved the princess. So, is it possible to beat New Super Mario Bros. U while carrying Luigi around and with him not doing anything? Yes, it is. We had to use some secret exit to dodge some impossible levels, but thankfully it was possible. And it wasn't that difficult too, as you don't really lose any of your important abilities while carrying Luigi. It was a pretty fun challenge nonetheless. Personally, if you ask me to choose between Mario and Luigi, I'll definitely pick my boy Luigi, as he is the nicest of the two. Luigi is so cool that he can actually win tons of games without actually doing anything. Last year, I played some games and tried to beat them without forcing the poor Luigi to walk. One of those games was New Super Mario Bros. U. Did we beat it? I don't know, you'll have to tap the card on screen right now to find out. But anyways, a lot of you commented that you wanted me to try out this challenge with the special world that is unlocked after getting all of the star coins in the game, the Superstar Road. Can we beat this world while we carry a handsome Luigi with us? The rules are simple. We are going to try to beat all of the 9 stages in the Superstar Road as Mario, but we'll also add a second controller playing as Luigi. I am all alone right now, so nobody will be able to touch that second controller. This means that we'll have to grab Luigi as Mario and carry him throughout all of the stages. If Luigi ends up dying during a stage, then we also have to die as Mario and start the level over. None of the Superstar Road levels have checkpoints in them, so if we die, we'll always start from the beginning. Obviously, turning Luigi into a bubble and just playing the level as Mario is considered cheating and not allowed. We're also going to try to carry Luigi at all times. We'll be allowed to drop him to squeeze in between tight spaces or to enter pipes, but we have to grab him back once we're on the other side. Now that everything has been set, let's see if we can beat all of the levels of the Superstar Road. Here we go. World 9-1 is the infamous roller coaster level that proved to be troublesome back when I tried to beat it without touching a single coin. The spine coaster you'll be riding throughout the level goes quite fast sometimes, and with the many fuzzies moving along the rails, you'll have to be very careful. While carrying Luigi, it is sometimes impossible to go underneath the fuzzies, so you'll have to pull off some dangerous jumps above them all. While going up this slow path, you'll probably automatically drop Luigi as you go underneath the question blocks, as you're too tall to fit underneath there. So make sure to grab him back immediately to avoid cheating. Just keep riding the coaster until the end, and this level will be done. World 9-2 is titled Run For It, and normally this is a level where you hit the P-switches that turn these coins into blocks, and then you run super fast to get to the next switch before the blocks turn back into coins and you fall to your death. You'd expect to do the same thing while carrying Luigi, but the game has a couple of challenges in store for us. First off, if you're thinking of going there as tall Mario and Luigi, you'll never be able to make it past the red pipes. Dropping and pushing Luigi is out of the question, as it's way too slow. This means we'll have to do it without a power-up. This clears this first part easily, but as soon as you reach this next P-switch, you'll get familiar with a brand new game mechanic. Here's the thing, while carrying Luigi, every time you hit a switch that's on a ceiling, Mario automatically drops poor Luigi. Like, there's nothing you can do about it, it just happens. And this precious second that you lose having to grab Luigi back makes this whole level super difficult. The first couple of sections can be cleared just fine if you are running fast enough, but as soon as you press this switch on top of the Koopa, you lose Luigi and he'll fall down for quite a while. This takes away 2 seconds of your time, and considering you normally have to do a wall jump at the end to reach the P-switch, these 2 seconds are quite precious. We cannot do wall jumps while carrying Luigi either, so the only way to clear this part would be to reach the P-switch with a jump or by letting go of Luigi to then do the wall jump. My idea to reach the P-switch quickly was to go get a mini mushroom in World 2-4, to then use the low gravity of Mini Mario and Mini Luigi to hopefully make it to the switch. While I think this idea was great on paper, once you try it, you soon realize that with the slow falling and low gravity of Mini Mario, there's actually no way to make it to the P-switches on time. Look how slow Luigi falls down and how long it takes before being able to grab him back. And if Luigi ends up bouncing on your head by accident, well, you will lose 3 more seconds. I could not even make it past the second P-switch anymore, so my next idea was to make Luigi tall to get normal gravity while carrying him, to then get back to that evil switch near the end, to then drop Luigi and do a spin jump to reach the P-switch in time. That plan sounded good, but I tried for hours and I just didn't even get close to getting there on time. There is simply not enough time to do it, it seems. My final plan was to get an acorn suit and give it to Luigi while still being small Mario to fit under the pipe. Using the spin jump and the glide ability of the acorn suit, I was actually able to reach the P-switch and catch Luigi back, and that's it, we have reached the flagpole. Whoa, that wasn't easy. World 9-3 is titled Swim for Your Life, and if you watch my previous videos in this series, then you know that underwater stages are not meant for this quest. You cannot carry Luigi while being underwater, and since we can't touch the controller, all we can do is push him around. This stage features an underwater cheap chomp that keeps coming back to eat the Mario Brothers, even if you kill him with fireballs. So, this annoying dude is going to keep bugging you every 5 seconds throughout the entire stage. But luckily for us, pushing Luigi actually works out real good, as there ain't bottomless pits on our way. All of the pits usually feature those jets of water that send Luigi flying upwards. You can also swim to push him and move him to the next part that way. Sadly, we'll eventually reach this part that features a green pipe that is 1 block above the floor, so poor Luigi is stuck there and there's nothing we can do about it, sadly. As pushing Luigi is super slow, I was running out of time anyways, so no, this stage is not possible. World 9-4 takes place in an underground icy cave featuring tons of swinging platforms, but the game is nice enough to give you an acorn suit in the very first block. Make sure Luigi is the one that grabs it, as it now allows the both of you to glide and even do a mid-air spin jump, kinda like what Peachette can do in the Switch version of the game. This part of the level with the narrow path is very tedious, as there's lots of buzzy beetles down there and tons of sharp and dangerous icicles up there. Losing the acorn suit usually means the rest of the stage will be really difficult, so what you'll want to do is to get rid of the beetles, to then clear out the first couple of icicles, to then quickly make your way through the passage before they reappear. Once that is done, you'll be moving on the swinging platforms on rails, and you'll eventually be able to make it to the end pipe, and going up means you reach the flagpole and clear that stage. World 9-5 contains more spinning platforms of doom and features tons of boos moving around in circles. The floor is made out of poison water, so falling down is not especially recommended. There's also 2 evil vines on your way that you'll absolutely have to dodge, because if Luigi ends up grabbing one of those, he'll be stuck and you'll have to start over. Thankfully, with the acorn suit that we got in the previous stage, you can do a scary spin jump to reach the end. Keep avoiding the moving boos and you'll be able to make it to this final spinning block and reach the flagpole. World 9-6 is up and it contains so many giant fire bars that you have to dodge. This won't be easy while carrying Luigi, especially when the space is very limited. You might have to damage boost through some of those parts. The second part of the stage involves you climbing up to the top while you avoid even more fire bars. Thankfully, it's not that difficult if you time your jumps, so this stage will be cleared quite quickly. World 9-7 is also pretty easy to beat, even with Luigi on our shoulders. This stage features a couple of blocks moving on rails, so I suggest being small Mario and Luigi to be able to fit in between them quite easily. Soon you'll realize that a lot of evil Lakitus will join the party and start throwing out spinies at you. While this is always kind of annoying, it is not very difficult to dodge most of them and make your way to the end of the stage. World 9-8 takes place in a very scary castle that is mostly made out of donut platforms and spiky pendulums. This means that we'll have to do some very scary jumps involving said donut platforms. Those jumps are super difficult to do, and if we lose Luigi, we have to start over. I eventually realized that a lot of those jumps can be replaced by us running super fast on the donut platforms underneath. It is still super precise, and if you don't run fast enough, you end up falling down to your death, but at least it is now possible. Eventually, you will reach this part where you need to hit the switch and make a run for it, and once that is done, this level will be cleared. World 9-9 is going to be the last stop of the day, and if you played this stage before, you know it's kind of a joke. You're meant to kick out some shells and follow them as you collect tons of shiny coins, but we don't actually have to do any of that. Just keep moving right up until this part and then use the P-switch to turn the blocks into coins to be able to make it past those, and this level will be over. Yep, already. I told you this level was kinda dumb. So, is it possible to beat the Superstar Road in New Super Mario Bros. U while carrying Luigi? Sadly, it isn't, because of one single stage that takes place underwater. I just wish there was something we could do in those water levels other than slowly pushing Luigi, but sadly there is not. And besides that, we did have a couple of difficult stages, mainly the one where you run and hit P-switches and those scary pendulums, but that's about it really. Luigi wins by doing nothing. Everybody watched one of those videos at one point. You know, the videos where Luigi wins some Mario Party minigames without actually doing anything. A couple of weeks ago, I attempted to beat New Super Mario Bros. U while carrying Luigi around, so in a way, I wanted to see if it was possible for Luigi to beat this game without doing anything. And today, we're kinda doing the same thing, but with Luigi's very own adventure, New Super Luigi U. The rules are simple. We're going to try to beat New Super Luigi U while playing as Yellow Toad and carrying a non-moving Luigi with us. While carrying Luigi, it is no longer possible to wall jump. You can't use a Fire Flower, you cannot use the Acorn Suit gliding ability, but worst of all, you can no longer dive and swim underwater. If you drop Luigi in the ocean, you can't grab him back, and that is a big problem. It actually means that we are going to have to avoid any underwater stages, as they're impossible in this quest. Dropping Luigi is allowed, but we're going to try to not do it a lot, only if truly necessary. Now that everything has been set, let's find out if we can actually beat the entire game with Luigi doing nothing. World 1-1 is quite easy, and that makes sense as it's the first level in the game. You'll want to be careful about the flying squirrel though, as they usually fly above you and you are way taller when carrying Luigi, so they can hurt you if you're not being careful. World 1-2 takes place underground, but it doesn't feature any narrow spaces where you need to drop Luigi. You'll want to time your jumps with the moving platforms, and this final part with the piranha plant is a little bit spooky, but it's not that hard. 1-Tower features those spinning cogs and gears everywhere, but there's just enough space for both Toad and Luigi to fit in the holes, so you'll make your way up without any major hurdles. That is, until you reach this part where there are some flames coming out of the gears. This gets tricky, but you can thankfully time your jumps and make it to the mad lad himself, Boom Boom, who, as you can see, is pretty easy to defeat. 1-3 is an easy level featuring tons of moving circular platforms. This makes you run super fast, so it means you'll clear this stage in no time. 1-4 takes place in the sky, and there are lots of moving mushroom platforms and lots of plants on them. This will lead to a couple of tight jumps in between those evil plants. 1-5 is a pretty easy level, but it does feature some evil plants in your way, and this is the part where I learned that if Luigi has a fire flower and you do a spin jump with Toad, you can actually throw some fire left and right and defeat enemies with it. It's slow, it's not precise, but it helps in this quest. Time for 1-Castle, a level that takes place in the dark. It's actually unsettling to see a castle that does not feature lava, but hey, just jump on those swinging platforms and you'll reach Lemmy real quick. Defeating him is super easy, as you don't even need to bounce on his bumps, as you can jump really high in this game. But if you decide to bounce just for fun, look how high you can go! Woo! 2-1 is home of the spikes. In fact, I even wondered if I wasn't actually playing new Super Spike U. As annoying as spikes can be, just run to the end of the stage and you'll be good. 2-2 takes place underground and features lots of moving platforms and pokies. You'll want to run super fast if you don't want to get squished in between the floor and the ceiling. 2-3 features so many piranha plants, it's insane. Plus, you can barely see where to go because of how dark this level is, and most of the platforms are moving up and down on a rail while rotating left and right. It is actually a very hard level, and dodging all of the plants is pretty much impossible. You'll probably want to damage boost through them. In 2-Tower, you need to spin those screws to make platforms appear and allow you to go up. The first set is pretty easy, but I have to admit that the second and third ones are not the nicest. Basically, you can't wall jump while carrying Luigi, and in a level like this, I really miss this ability. If you mess up a jump or barely touch the platform with Luigi, you'll instantly fall down and you'll need to start over. It is tedious and the final part is really stressful, but it is possible to do it. Thankfully, defeating Boom Boom is super simple and will take about 10 seconds. 2-4 is up, and this level contains a lot of those weird statues with eyes. You'd think jumping in between those is difficult, but it really isn't. You'll have nothing to worry about. 2-5 features those spikes that puke their spiky balls underneath them, but you have plenty of space to dodge everything, even with Luigi on your back. There's this one part where you absolutely need to jump, but that's it really. 2-6 contains more spinning wheel platforms, and just like in World 1, you can run super fast on those, so it's kinda cool. Jump on the geysers above the plants and you'll reach the end easily. Time for 2-Castle, a pretty standard castle level with nothing that will really put an end to this quest. Jump on Morton 3 times and you'll be good. Now we can either go to World 3 or World 4 directly, and even though I don't have any hopes for World 3 as it's a water world, let's just see how far we can get in that one anyways. 3-1 takes place on top of the water, so you'll complete the first part easily, but at one point you'll reach this part with 6 blocks and some enemy crabs. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can't dive underwater when carrying Luigi, so you just can't go under them. And if you're a dum-dum like me and you break all of the blocks, then you won't be able to jump up above. You'll be stuck. You'll need to be a big brain boy and only break some of the blocks in order to create a staircase leading to the top, and then you'll be good. That is, until you actually enter 3-2 and realize that it's an underwater stage. Oh yeah, we can't pick up or push Luigi underwater, and we can't swim anyways with him, so yeah, we can't get any further in this world. But let's go up there and reach the Frosted Glacier, or should I say World 4. 4-4 4-1 is full of bruisers, and to be real, these are really annoying because they punch some barrels on us, and at one point I got killed by the barrel, and that left poor Luigi alone with the 2 bruisers punching him. 4-2 takes place on those sesame mushroom platforms, and it features those sliding penguins that can be a pain in the butt. Not enough to stop us on this quest though. 4-Tower features a lot of icicles up above, but thankfully, even as tall as we can get while carrying Luigi, there's still plenty of room to move around without getting hurt by those. I don't need to mention that the Boom Boom fight is super easy, it's a given at this point. 4-3 features a lot of plants coming out of those pipes up above, and they even spit fireballs. As you can guess, this gets stressful real quick. Thankfully, it is possible to fit in between all of this without taking any damage. 4-4 is home of the scale lifts and the banzai bills. You'll definitely want to watch for your head in this stage, as there's a lot of things flying above you. 4-5 is usually a level where you grab a penguin suit and you slide like there's no tomorrow, but obviously, sliding cannot be done while carrying Luigi. You're now forced to take things slowly, and it actually makes this level a whole lot harder, especially in those parts where there are spinning platforms and plants just above them. It is a fun level nonetheless. 4-Ghost House is another level where you realize that not being able to wall jump is pretty sad, as it features those platforms moving in a wave pattern and you have to get close to those walls for them to disappear, but not too close or else you fall down. Then, there are these huge circles full of evil boos. It is super scary to jump in between them and to fit in there, but believe it or not, there is room for Toad and Luigi in that middle ring. 4-Castle is next, and this level is spooky, starting off with you having to run underneath those evil thwomps. Oh, and then there's this part that requires you to do a wall jump to get up there, but it is impossible in this quest. We're actually going to need an acorn suit for this one. But if both Luigi and Toad have an acorn suit, then they can't fit underneath those thwomps at the beginning. So here's the thing, you'll need to jump to trigger the first thwomp, to then go back to the left, to then go back, and then you'll be okay for the remaining thwomps. Do a spin jump with Squirrel Luigi over there and you'll clear this gap. But don't feel confident yet, as the rest of the level is super stressful with the million thwomps falling down and potentially ruining everything, but it's actually possible to make it alive. The fight against Wendy is super easy compared to her castle, and on that note, World 4 is cleared. Before reaching Soda Jungle, we first need to clear 5-Airship, and although this stage doesn't contain an underwater section like its new Super Mario Bros. U counterpart, the boss fight is still against Submarine Bowser Jr. And no matter what I did, Jr. was always aiming at the poor defenseless, non-swimming, non-moving Luigi. I even tried switching Toad to player 1 instead of Luigi, but it is no use. Jr. really hates Luigi. And with that boss unbeatable, then the level is unbeatable, so we have to find another way to skip that one. Thankfully, there's a secret exit in World 2-4, so we'll head back there. Do a ground pound over here, and we'll unlock a secret exit. World 2-Plant is on our way, and at first I was really scared of this level, as it features ladders. And if ladders are anything like vines were in New Super Mario Bros. U, then we're in big trouble. Luigi automatically grabs onto the ladder, but here's the thing, we can actually go underneath him as Toad and push him up using our Toad head. Once he's all the way up the ladder, just jump above and grab him up there. Woo! The ladders can be cleared. Completing this stage opens up a path leading straight to Soda Jungle 1, avoiding the airship level. Yes! But as you'll soon see, it ain't really that cool. Welcome to 5-1, a level that starts off with vines. Uh-oh. So yeah, here's the thing if you haven't watched the new Super Mario Bros. U video. No matter what you do, Luigi automatically grabs onto vines when he's in contact with them. even when you're carrying him on your head, so this means we'd have to find a way to go underneath the vine, and I did try that using an acorn spin jump thingy, but no, sadly, there is not enough space. There's no way this is gonna happen. We are in big trouble. I guess we can hope for another secret exit maybe? Let's go back to World 4, shall we? 4-Ghost House is actually where we'll find our secret exit. Get Luigi up there, grab him back, and then go to the left over there to find a secret door leading to a brand new level. World 4-Walrus. This level is quite annoying with those boxes that make you bounce super high, and since there are icicles up there, this is bad news, but it is possible to beat it. Once we clear this stage, we get an express train straight to World 6. Yeah, choo choo! 6-1 is a level that is full of fuzzies, but thankfully we can navigate our way around them and reaching the end won't be much of a problem. I was really scared about World 6-2. First off, it's called Porcupuffer Cavern, and the first part of the stage contains some water down there, so I was actually expecting an underwater stage on the other side of this pipe. The thing is, it's not! It is just an underground level featuring a little bit of water and a porcupuffer. Thankfully, we can just bounce on the node blocks to the end of the stage and clear it. 6-Tower is actually pretty easy. You'll have to avoid those spiky wheels rolling around the arena, but it's not that hard, and as usual, Boom Boom is no match for us. 6-3 is a vertical level where you need to climb up while dodging those spikes throwing out their spiky boulders. There's this one part where you need to throw Luigi and push him in order to fit through the gap, but that's it really. 6-4 takes place in a dark cavern that is full of fire-spitting piranha plants. The more you go through the level, the harder it gets, as more and more things can hurt you. 6-5 is very easy, and most of the plants in this level won't actually be a threat to us. 6-Tower number 2 is up, and you'll have to make your way up to the top of the tower by spinning those screws on the platforms. And sadly, you'll need to drop Luigi at one point because it's simply not possible to fit in between those two platforms. The boss of this tower is an original one. Sumo Bro might be original, but he's still super easy to defeat though. 6-7 is next, and this level is a little bit annoying because you need to hit those question mark switches in order to open up the path, and to do so, you'll need to drop Luigi as you're usually too tall when holding him. You'll also need to drop Luigi again before entering the pipe at the end if you don't want him to get hurt by this enemy. 6-Castle is next, and this one is actually the complete opposite of the previous one. There's a lot of switches everywhere, but you want to avoid them at all costs. Hitting a switch makes you drop Luigi, and usually when hitting the switches, some blocks start falling down and they destroy our boy Luigi. Oh no, poor dude. Make some precise jumps underneath the switches and you'll soon reach our boy Roy and defeat him easily. Let's climb up and reach World 7. And 7-1 is a pretty easy level where you need to jump on those fuzzies after they've been frozen solid by the Ice Bros. You can also leave the penguin suit to Luigi and do some spin jump to freeze them yourself. 7-2 has tons of munchers, wigglers, and other enemies, so watch out for that. 7-3 is a very easy level full of rainbow platforms. Dodge the bullet bills and watch out while going on the arrow platforms and you'll be all good. 7-Tower is full of dangerous moving platforms that could crush you at any moment if you're not being careful. Especially this final part here, where you definitely do not want to stop running. Defeating Kamek will not be very difficult and you'll be able to get to the next level. 7-Ghost House is actually a very easy one that doesn't feature any problem whatsoever for this quest. Just avoid those bad flying blocks and you'll be okay. 7-4 is full of clouds you can bounce on, and that's pretty fun. 7-5 has lots of spinning wheels and some plants and other hazards, but thankfully you can always fit in between all of it. 7-6 is the land of the snake blocks, and at one point I dropped Luigi by accident and the screen scrolling actually saved him. Unbelievable. 7-Castle is a very scary level that is full of those big walls that move left and right and can potentially push you around or crush you. you'll have to hide down in those little areas down there or jump above the whole thing if you want to make it out alive. Let's defeat Ludwig by jumping on his head, and we can move on to the next one, 7-Airship. It's actually a pretty easy level if you're being careful and you dodge all of those little parachuting bombs. Defeating Bowser Jr. is also pretty easy, as you can just jump on his head when he comes down to punch you, and with that out of the way, we can move to the final world, Peach's Castle. 8-1 has lots of lava boulders falling from the sky, and this can be quite annoying when you're carrying Luigi, as it makes you quite tall. I died a lot of times in this stage, but I eventually made it to the end. Thankfully, 8-2 is very easy, as you can just ride the lava boat peacefully until you reach the end of the stage. 8-3 is full of gears spinning above the lava, and while this is annoying, it is not that difficult, so no worries. 8-Tower takes place on those platforms that you control by tilting the controller left and right. The only thing you need to watch out for are those electric enemies moving on those electric lines, and the falling bombs up above. Pay attention to all of this to reach the final level, 8-Bowser. This final stage starts off with Bowser Jr. trying to attack you, and he's quite annoying, making you drop Luigi or fall in the lava. But eventually, you'll enter the final door, dodge those fireballs, and reach Bowser. Beating him is super simple. Just wait for him to jump and then just go under him and touch that switch, and voila, you did it. But the true final fight is actually quite harder, as you need to climb aboard the Koopa Clown cart to then attack Bowser, but doing so leaves poor Luigi alone and vulnerable, so you'll need a little bit of luck. Thankfully, those mushroom bubbles are really helpful if Luigi gets hurt, so you'll definitely want to grab them all for him. And after 3 hits, Bowser is gone, the princess is saved, and peace returns to the Mushroom Kingdom. So, is it possible to beat new Super Luigi U while carrying Luigi? Yes it is. It was actually harder than I thought, with a lot of precise jumps in between enemies and a couple of hurdles along the way, you know, like underwater stages or that level with the vines, but with the secret exits, we did it. You probably know the drill by now. I respect Luigi a lot and I think he shouldn't have to do anything in order to save the world, which is why I have taken the habit of just carrying him on my shoulders at all times. Well, lucky for us, Luigi has his very own 2D side-scrolling game in the form of new Super Luigi U. We did try to beat this game in the past while having Yellow Toad carrying him through the many stages. Did we beat the challenge? Well, you're gonna have to tap the card on screen right now to find out. But today, we're going to try to beat the secret world that is unlocked after collecting all of the star coins in every levels, the Superstar Road. The rules are simple. We're gonna try to beat all 9 special stages in new Super Luigi U while carrying Luigi on our shoulders at all time. And since Yellow Toad worked really hard last time, I'm gonna give him a break and rely on Blue Toad to do the job today. Yeah, thanks pal. We are allowed to drop Luigi to go inside of pipes or to fit through narrow passages if needed, as long as we grab him back right after we get past the part. If Luigi ends up dying during a stage, we have to start over from the beginning of it. I know you can turn the players into bubbles in this game, but obviously that is not allowed, as this would be completely dumb and pretty boring. Now that everything has been set, let's see if we can beat all 9 levels from this secret world. Here we go. World 9-1 is one of those epic spine coaster levels. I say epic because in a normal playthrough, they're super fast-paced and really fun, but in a quest where all of your moves are limited by carrying Luigi around, this speed can be quite the problem. The very first part is quite troublesome, as this little path here is too narrow, so Toad immediately drops Luigi and there ain't much time to grab him back before we have to jump above an evil fuzzy. Poor Luigi can't really do anything about it. I soon had this idea of using a mini mushroom to avoid dropping Luigi, and while that works, sure, the low gravity that comes with being mini Luigi truly is a big problem. I also tried to leave Luigi there to take damage, only to grab him back on the other side of the fuzzy, but I couldn't do it on time. Eventually, after a couple of tries, I managed to grab Luigi back on time to jump above the fuzzy and land on the other roller coaster. This was really stressful, but thankfully, once that really annoying part is done, the rest of the level is pretty straightforward and you'll reach the flagpole in no time. World 9-2 is the really dangerous level in which huge Bowser blocks fall down from the sky, and if we get crushed by them, we're pretty much ripperoni and pepperoni. Sadly for us, we have to press a P-switch right at the start, turning the coins into blocks and thus creating a wall that prevents us from carrying Luigi through it. No matter what we do, we're gonna be dropping poor Luigi and he's gonna get crushed. Luigi and Toad are just too thick to fit down there. So you know, we're gonna have to grab a mini mushroom if we want to stand a chance. Lucky for us, this mushroom is exactly the thing we needed to fit there, but that doesn't mean the rest of the level will be easy to beat. The low gravity jumps above the spinies are pretty difficult to pull off, and there's not much time to relax, but eventually I managed to make it to the end. The final part is full of flying squirrels, and they're always located in the worst places possible. Like, seriously, move out of the way, dude! It's really annoying to deal with, but after memorizing where they'll appear, you'll be good and the flagpole will be within your reach. World 9-3 starts off with us going down that green pipe, and I'm not gonna lie, I was really afraid of what was on the other side, and yup, it is an underwater stage. Ugh. If you're new to the series, I have to tell you that underwater stages are pretty much always impossible in this quest, cause you cannot grab Luigi underwater, and he doesn't bounce on you at all, so there's actually no way of going up while being there. Although we can get through the parts with the moving pipes by pushing Luigi and defeating the big cheap chump with fire flowers, we'll soon stumble on this part where the floor is elevated by one block. And that one single block is going to be the one that ruined this quest. Sadly, this level cannot be completed. World 9-4 is next, and in this one you have to jump on the many donut platforms and swinging hammer things up until you reach the pipe at the top. Along the way, there are going to be lots of mean walruses throwing out snowballs at you, so you're gonna have to avoid them as well while making your way to the top. Thankfully, it's a pretty short level, so you'll soon reach the top and beat it. World 9-5 is apparently under construction, and you know what? It really shows. I mean, all of the blocks are slowly appearing out of nowhere above this evil poison water. This level is kinda scary, but it's not very difficult if you just wait for the blocks to appear before making your moves. There's only one difficult part that I can think of, and it's this part here where you are expected to do wall jumps. Obviously, we cannot do those while carrying Luigi, but we can easily jump and then throw Luigi to then do the wall jump to make our way up there ourselves. Once that part is done, the rest of the level is pretty easy to beat. World 9-6 is full of giant spinning fire bars, and this truly makes this stage really difficult to navigate, especially considering the fact that while carrying Luigi, we become twice as tall, so most jumps are super difficult to pull off. You'll have to forget having a mushroom if you want to stand a chance and fit here, but that also means instant death. I died over and over and over again while attempting the stage, but the more I died, the more I learned, and the more I learned, the further I got into the stage, eventually reaching this part with all of the brick blocks. But even when I cleared it, this fire bar always killed Luigi no matter what. While we can actually push him underneath, we then have to grab him right back to start running on the second set of blocks, so there's no way this is going to happen. My strat here was to hit the block and give a mushroom to Luigi to then make it back to that part and damage boost to be able to keep running. This was really stressful and really difficult too, but I did manage to eventually beat it. The rest of the level isn't particularly promising, as there's even more fire bars and faster ones too. We absolutely have to keep running without stopping and with the perfect timing. Took me a long time, but eventually I managed to pull it off and oh boy was that a stressful run. World 9-7 doesn't have many platforms to stand on, and that's because we have to use the Lakitu clouds to fly our way to the end of the stage. This will be easier said than done, as their move pattern is really erratic and a little bit random too. Plus, you usually have only one block to stand on, so when you jump on Lakitu, you have to do it on your first try, or you just fall down and die. And once you get a cloud, well, you're still in trouble, because there's a million fuzzies in the sky, and although you're meant to follow the trail of ugly coins to fit in between the fuzzies, we're not gonna be able to do that while carrying Luigi. We'll absolutely have to go underneath, close to the bottom part of the screen, and navigate to the other side. Oh, and also, don't forget that the Lakitu cloud doesn't last forever and will eventually start to blink and then disappear, meaning you'll have lots of Lakitus to defeat and clouds to steal if you want to make your way to the end. The last part forces you to jump from one cloud to the next without any platform to stand on, adding one more layer of challenge, but once that is done, we're all good to go. World 9-8 is filled with spinning, spiky pendulums flying in all sorts of directions, often defying gravity, but since this stage is named Impossible Pendulums, I guess Nintendo is already aware of that. The very first part requires you to do a very precise jump in between the floor and the pendulums, which is scarier looking than it is difficult. The following pendulums are easier to time, and there are plenty of platforms to stand on. You'll absolutely want to drop Luigi over there before going up the pipe if you want to avoid him dying, but remember the rules, as soon as we pick him right back after leaving the pipe, we're not cheating. This final part contains 2 more spinning pendulums, but they're not going to be much of an issue, and the flagpole will be right around the corner. Welcome to World 9-9, the final stop of the day, and this level is meant to be a fun flying squirrel level where you just glide down, slowly grabbing tons of coins and having a great time. Oops. Well, looks like I dropped Luigi, so yeah, don't do that. Just grab some acorn suits and enjoy the peaceful ride down this amazing level, and you'll finally reach the final thank you wooden sign, and we're done with this quest. So, is it possible to beat the Superstar Road in New Super Luigi U while carrying Luigi at all times? Sadly, no it isn't, and it's only because of that one underwater stage that is World 9-3. This is such a shame, because all of the other levels are actually possible, and I did have a lot of challenges on some of them. Oh well, maybe next time, Luigi. I've been pushing the Luigi wins by doing nothing meme quite far these past months. What started as a thing in Mario Party turned into a challenge that I attempted in many 2D Mario games. The thing is, there's actually a 3D game where we can attempt this challenge as well, and that game is none other than Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U. The rules are simple. We are going to try to finish Super Mario 3D World starting with World 1-1 and hopefully reaching Meowser on top of the big tower. The thing is, we're going to have to carry Luigi around with us in each level. I'll be playing as Mario with the Wii U gamepad, and a second controller will be added for Luigi, but I am not allowed to touch it at all. In this game, if a character is left behind for too long, he turns into a bubble and follows the lead player. But we're obviously not going to be allowed to use that, as this would be considered cheating. Entering a green pipe and then waiting for Luigi to be teleported is allowed, as it's pretty much the only way of entering pipes without having to press a button on the second controller. Now that everything has been set, let's see how far we can get. World 1-1 is where you'll get used to your moves. You can push Luigi around the level, but that's pretty slow, so you'll definitely want to hold down the Y button to grab him and carry him around. You'll also need to learn to throw him, as this is quite helpful to collect power-ups or simply to throw Luigi on the other side of a bottomless pit. Luigi can be thrown and pushed in clear pipes, so this is also pretty good to know. Use those brand new moves and you'll soon reach the flagpole and complete this level. World 1-2 is taking place underground, but there's always more than enough room for both Mario and Luigi to fit everywhere, so it is a pretty easy level. Throw Luigi in the clear pipe cannons to move from one section to the other, and this level will be done in no time. 1-A is a mini boss fight against two charging chucks, and just for the heck of it, I tried throwing Luigi on those guys to defeat them, but it is easier said than done. In World 1-3, you normally collect a cat suit and climb the many walls, but with Luigi in our hands, this move is now restricted and cannot be used. You'll have to jump and throw Luigi on higher grounds and blocks if you want to make it to the top. It makes the level a little bit more difficult, but not that much. World 1-4 is a Plessy level, and to be fair, once you throw Luigi on her back and hop aboard, she controls exactly like she would in a single player game, so no worries. World 1-5 wants you to walk on the many question mark tiles to activate them and open up the next part of the stage, and having Luigi on our shoulder doesn't change anything to that fact. You can even use the jump pads without any problem. World 1-Castle is pretty easy and doesn't have any part that requires us to drop Luigi or anything. Heck, even the boss fight against Bowser's pricey car can be done while holding Luigi. Basically, you have to kick those soccer balls bombs back into the car to break it. And well, our hands might be busy holding down Green Mario, but our feet are not. Easy victory. World 2-1 will not be the most difficult level, as most of the conch door enemies are not fast enough to hurt us. We'll need to drop Luigi at some points to collect green stars, but that's about it. In World 2-2, you'll need to use the gamepad touchscreen to tap on some blocks to make them expand and allow you to reach higher grounds. And I gotta admit that tapping the touchscreen while holding down the Y button to hold Luigi can get quite annoying and could potentially give you hand cramps. But those are real life problems, so we're not here to talk about those. World 2-3 is home of Team BBQ's favorite, Bob the Piranha Plant. Sadly, we cannot bring the guy around with us for this challenge as we are already carrying something. Oh, goodbye Bob. This level is not particularly difficult if you take your time and time your jumps. This stage even contains a 2D section at one point, and that reminded me a lot of previous challenges in the series. World 2-4 is really similar to 1-1 at first, except this one contains some rolling hills. It doesn't make it any harder though. During this cave section, you'll have to drop Luigi to defeat the Squipsqueak there in your way, but that's all there is to this stage. World 2-A pits you against 3 evil Galoombas, but as you can see right now, this level is ridiculously easy. World 2-5 introduces the Super Cherry, a power-up that can create clones of whoever touches it. For this quest, I recommend cloning Mario and not his brother, as we now have 2 babysitters for one lonely, non-moving green boy, and that's pretty useful. World 2-Tank is an auto-scroller stage full of ugly bullet bills, cannons, and other enemies. This stage wants you to become a war machine and gives you those cannon boxes that turn Mario into a bullet shooting machine. But if you grab one of those, you won't be able to carry Luigi anymore because of your brand new lack of arms. Obviously, you'll want to avoid touching those if you plan to reach the Mad Lad himself, Lord Boom Boom, and defeating this guy is as easy as it always was, even when carrying Luigi around. With Boom Boom out of the way, we can reach World 3. 3-1 is a lovely snow-themed level featuring icy pokies and lots of ice. There's also a couple of Goomba shoes that can be equipped to skate on the ice faster, but you can't sadly use those for this quest as they make you drop Luigi. We'll have to painfully walk on ice until we reach the end of this level. World 3-2 is an auto-scrolling level, and this one is a little bit difficult, as you have to jump above or under moving fences, and if your timing is wrong, you might drop poor Luigi, and that's pretty sad. Just take your time and make sure to jump in between all of the obstacles, and this one will be done. World 3-3 is a spooky ghost house, and you'll have to watch out for your step in here, as there's plenty of ghosts, moving floors, and flying furniture. At one point in this stage, I dropped poor Luigi on a lit candle. Hope that didn't burn your butt, my dude. World 3-4 gives you only 100 seconds to beat the stage, but to be fair, it's going to be more than enough. Just make sure not to drop Luigi in a pit though. World 3-A is a mini boss fight against 3 Magikoopas, and you don't even need to move Luigi an inch to beat those baddies. World 3-5 is our first underwater stage. Hey, you knew this type of stage would eventually make its way in this quest. Underwater stages are truly a problem in 2D Mario games for this type of challenge, and usually mean the end of the quest. But what about a 3D game? Well, turns out you can actually push Luigi while he's underwater in Mario 3D World, which is actually pretty nice. It's just painfully slow and takes forever. Watch out where you push a plumber, or he might get stuck in a corner and you'll have to start over. Having a cat suit or a fireball power-up is pretty necessary to defeat those enemies that will try to kill poor Luigi. Pushing him up slopes is particularly annoying, as you'll always end up bouncing him on your head, and that takes away precious seconds. After the checkpoint, you'll eventually reach this part with the sunken ship. The problem here is that if you push him next to the fences down there, he'll get stuck onto the corner and you'll be in big trouble. Thankfully, you can crouch on this corner there to make Luigi bounce on your head and use this airtime to push him on the other side of the fence. It's really precise and takes time, but it is possible. You could also bounce him on your head, starting all the way to the left there, moving him slowly to the right, 1 inch at a time. Once you figure out how it works, it's not very difficult, it's just painfully slow. I ended up finishing this stage with less than 15 seconds on the clock. And that's with the clock resetting back to 400 seconds at the checkpoint mark after I ran out of time once. That one was tedious. World 3-6 is a classic Mario Kart stage where you gotta run super fast by using the boost panels. Carrying Luigi around doesn't slow you down or anything, so this stage is the same as if you didn't have the guy on your shoulder in the first place. World 3-7 has those arrow platforms that you have to walk on in order to move. You also have to hit those big red blocks to change the rails and proceed in the level, and holding Luigi prevents you from hitting them as you're way too tall now. And if you drop Luigi in the water down there by accident, well, might as well just quit and come back. Drop Luigi on the platform first and then hit the block with Mario afterwards. Later in the level, you'll have to perform some epic Luigi throws in order to hit those blocks there, and this is easier said than done as the platform is moving quite fast. And it is super easy to throw Luigi in the pit below by accident. It took me a couple of tries, but eventually I did it. 3-Train is pretty easy, even though it contains its fair share of enemies and bullet bills. Pom Pom is also pretty easy to defeat and won't be a problem at all, but before we can reach World 4, we'll have to quickly make a stop in World 3-B, which is a boss fight against Histocrat. This boss is actually made easier in this quest, as you can now throw Luigi on its head and defeat it way quicker. Epic! World 4-1 has lots of very narrow caves where you simply cannot hold Luigi, so you'll have to drop him and push him quickly before he gets hit by those evil ant enemies. After that is done, the rest of this level is really easy and only requires you to bounce on those giant ants. World 4-2 is really easy up until you get to the underground part down there. There's a lot of evil water, and if you go there with Luigi, well, you won't be able to leave this part, and Luigi will be stuck underwater forever. Is this the end of the quest? Well, no, as there's actually another path that skips this entire underwater section by simply going above it all. World 4-A pits us against a little boulder enemy. So easy. I don't even need my boy Luigi for that. What? 3 more little rocks? I am an epic gamer. I don't need Luigi for that anyways. World 4-3 contains lots of double cherries, so it means we'll get multiple Marios to protect the one lonely Luigi. This makes this level a little bit easier. World 4-4 has lots of bouncing mushroom platforms, and thankfully we can bounce on those even while holding down Luigi, so this level is really easy. World 4-5 will force you to dodge the evil fishy boopkins attacking you with their spiky things, but having Luigi with us doesn't make it any more difficult. World 4-Castle is a pretty simple stage, and having Luigi around is actually quite useful to hit those switches without needing the little rock dudes from before. Although this stage is quite simple, the boss is actually made quite difficult. You see, to defeat the dude, you need to grab the little boulder dudes and throw them at the bigger one. The thing is, while you are holding one of those little boulders, Luigi is left alone defenseless in the corner and can be attacked by other enemies. You'll quickly need to attack the boss to then quickly grab back Luigi and bring him to safety. Tedious, but possible. World 5-1 is an easy beach level. Just make sure not to throw Luigi onto a tree, because if he grabs onto it, well, he's stuck there. You can't even interact with him anymore. He just kinda loves the tree so much that nothing can move him out of there. World 5-2 introduces those circus trapeze that you normally have to swing on, but we can't do that now. If you go on a trapeze, both Mario and Luigi will grab it, and although we can let go of it as Mario, Luigi will be stuck there forever. Now, this is a big problem, as this level doesn't seem to be possible. Thankfully, it is located on a split path, and we can immediately reach World 5-3 instead. Well, we could if we had enough green stars. You see, to unlock certain levels, you need a set amount of green stars, and at that point in the game, it appears I didn't collect enough. Thankfully, there are a couple of Captain Toad levels, which are single player and can be done without Luigi, and there's also a couple of mystery boxes level you can complete with Luigi without any issue, so getting enough green stars for 5-3 won't be too difficult. Speaking of, World 5-3 is a very tiny level, as we can see the end flagpole right as soon as we enter it. This level is really easy to complete. World 5-A is a rematch against Charging Chucks, and once again, this will be done in a matter of seconds. World 5-4 was kind of a problem during my coinless run, so hopefully it will be good to me this time around. Uh-oh, how do I get Luigi up that pipe? Don't tell me this level will be the end of me again. Oh, wait, you just push him into it. Okay, well that was easy. World 5-5 is not very difficult, although it might require you to push Luigi around in those narrow paths. World 5-6 has those tiles that flip sides every time you jump, but having Luigi doesn't change anything to this stage. Even this part where you need to go up has enough room to fit both Mario and Luigi at the same time. World 5-7 contains lots of bullet bills and annoying bricks that are on your way. Most of the level can be done without a problem, that is, until you get to this final part here. With those broken bricks, there is no way to fit while carrying Luigi. You'll have to throw the guy on this lonely brick to then jump and grab him back. All of this while dodging the evil bullet bills. It is a very scary level. 5-Castle has those spiky square enemies that love to flip on their sides. As tall Mario and Luigi, you don't always fit in between them and will often have to wait for them to start flipping before you jump inside of them. The boss is pretty easy though and is way bigger, so you won't have a problem with it. World 6-1 has lots of clear pipes with evil spike bombs inside of them. You can thankfully walk on top of the pipes for this first section, and once you reach this next part where you need to go up, you'll probably want to throw Luigi up ahead, as you can't really control which way he'll decide to go if you throw him into a clear pipe. Finally, this section wants you to collect all 5 key tokens to open up the way, so my trick here was to put Luigi on top of the clear pipe over there while I collected all of the key tokens. This protects him from enemies and won't turn him into a bubble, so you know, we're good. World 6-2 is a pretty easy stage. You'll just want to be careful not to drop Luigi in the water inside of the boat and you'll be good to go. World 6-3 features those Goombas that give out a Goomba mask. Make sure to avoid collecting one of those, because just like the cannon bugs from World 2-Tank, if you have one of those things on your head, you won't be able to carry Luigi around anymore. For World 6-4, just relax and enjoy the raft ride down the poison water. So peaceful. The fight against Prince Bully in World 6-8 doesn't require Luigi at all, so the guy will simply wait down there while Mario does all of the hard work. it's an easy life, eh? There's not much to say about World 6-5 either, as it's a pretty standard snow level that doesn't feature any difficult part whatsoever. World 6-6 is a vertical climbing stage, which could prove to be potentially lethal to the quest, but there's more than enough platforms and clouds to get to the top, even when carrying Luigi. World 6-7 is scary and full of narrow passages, but you can thankfully fit in all of them, even with Luigi on your back, so this level scared me for no reason. It's actually pretty easy. World 6-Tank might be a slow auto-scroller with tons of enemies and bombs, but if you defeat them one after another, you'll soon reach the Mad Lad and victory will be yours. Before reaching the next world though, we have a fight to do in World 6-C, and it is actually super easy if you don't drop Luigi. If you do get hit and drop him though, well, this clown enemy will make the poor green dude suffer. Oh, leave Luigi alone! Welcome to World Castle, and Castle-1 has its fair share of clear pipes, and those can be quite dangerous, so make sure to defeat the enemies before throwing Luigi in those. World Castle-2 is a top-down level, kinda like an old-school Legend of Zelda game. It's pretty cool, but there's not much to talk about. Castle-3 is kinda difficult because of the speed. You can't really control your direction while jumping, so falling down is quite easy. And if Mario touches an obstacle, he'll drop poor Luigi, and this will be really bad for both the Mario brothers. It will take a couple of tries, but you'll be able to beat this level eventually. The ending is pretty funny though, as Luigi runs automatically while exiting the clear pipe, so it almost looks as if I was playing with two controllers at once, but I promise you I'm not. Castle-4 is a little bit tricky, but not because of Luigi at all, so no need to talk about it. Castle-A is a rematch against the evil boulder dude from before, except this time around, there are some rolling balls of lava that move around the battle arena, and this makes the fight way more difficult. But thankfully, if you grab the boulder only to throw it immediately to then grab back Luigi and bring him to safety, you'll be good. Castle-B is actually super easy. Castle-5 is quite easy up until this part where you need to quickly go down this tower before the evil purple gas gets to you and game ends you. I suggest taking damage and becoming Small Mario if you want to easily fit everywhere on time. Castle-6 is another one of those annoying underwater levels. I don't think it's possible, but since it's on a split path and we already beat Castle-5, it doesn't even matter. Castle-7 has lots of fire, lava, and other crazy scary stuff. You'll want to be very careful. Welcome to World Castle-Castle. Yup, that's really the official name for this level. Anyways, it contains lots of evil enemies, but it is actually quite easy, and the Bowser car fight is the exact same one as the first world, so no need to drop Luigi to win this one. And there we go, we did it. We have completed the What? Hey Bowser, come back with that! Welcome to World Bowser. Whew, it looks fantastic. World Bowser-1 contains lots of spikes and timing is key in here if you want to make it out alive. World Bowser-2 is a Plessy level, so once again, it's super easy. World Bowser-3 has lots of delicious looking cookies. Yummy. You'll have to move from one cookie to another, climb up, go to the left, go to the right, but it's actually possible. World Bowser-Train is quite easy and only contains two trains that could potentially be dangerous. There's this first one that is filled with water, and you'll absolutely want to walk on the sides and not touch that deadly water, because if you do, well, goodbye Luigi. There's also this second one with doors that you'll want to enter right from the side, or else Luigi will be left behind and could potentially be attacked before being teleported, but besides that, it's pretty easy. Defeating Pum Pum is super easy as always, and with that done, we can move on to the next stage. World Bowser-4 forces you to walk slowly on the invisible paths. Normally, you could ground pound to show yourself the way, but with Luigi in our hands, we'll have to simply go slowly instead and wait for the path to appear. World Bowser-5 is another impossible underwater stage, but luckily for us, it is once again on a split path and we can actually skip it. Wow, we're actually quite lucky with those. World Bowser-6 takes place in this dark haunted house, and normally you'd get a light box to defeat the ghosts, but with Luigi on our shoulder, we'll have to skip those and just play the level normally. It makes it a little bit more tedious, but not that much. World Bowser-7 is kinda tricky if you get hit, as you'll drop Luigi and he'll burn in the hot flaming lava, so make sure this doesn't happen, okay? World Bowser-A and Bowser-B are both rematch against previous bosses, such as this wizard dude and also Histocrat. But you know, just like the previous fights, defeating those dudes is really easy. World Bowser-Bowser is the final stage, and the level in itself is actually pretty easy. You'll soon get to the boss Meowser, and this is more of a stage than it is a boss battle. You'll have to jump from platform to platform to reach the top, and this will force you to throw Luigi up above at times, for example to avoid this evil trapeze there. Keep moving up and you'll soon reach the big POW block and defeat Meowser once and for all. And there we go, we have saved the Sprixie's kingdom. So, is it possible to beat Super Mario 3D World while carrying Luigi and with him not doing anything? Well, yes, it is. It's actually surprisingly simple to do so as well, as this game is not very difficult and having Luigi in your hands barely restricts your moves, so it's actually a cakewalk. You know me and my huge respect for my boy Luigi. There's just so much that Luigi can do, and beating games by doing nothing is yet another thing the man can do. We've played a couple of Mario games in the past, carrying Luigi around from the very first level to the end when possible, and one of those games was Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U. After defeating my dude Bowser and finishing the game, 4 special worlds get unlocked for you to play, and today we're going to attempt to beat those worlds while carrying Luigi around. By the way, have you ever wondered how Luigi remains super calm while Mario is carrying him around through all sorts of crazy looking levels? It almost looks like Luigi's vibing to his favorite song. The rules are simple. We are going to try to beat all 4 special worlds in Super Mario 3D World while carrying Luigi on our Mario shoulder. We have to make sure Luigi never has to do anything, so we'll have to carry him around, jump with him, throw him inside of pipes, and whatever is needed to make sure he reaches that flagpole without having put any effort doing so. Now that everything has been set, let's see if we can beat those special stages, shall we? World Star-1 is the first level we'll tackle today, and it's full of spinning moving platforms. Gotta admit that all of those colors are pretty cool looking. The first part is easy to do if you time your jumps and play carefully. The Plessie section is also very easy, but the section after that is quite a threat to this quest. Those trapeze things over there are the big issue. If you jump on them, Mario and Luigi will automatically grab onto those, and since we cannot move Luigi around, he'll be stuck on those forever. And as you can see, there's no easy way to dodge those or move around. There's even a second trapeze right after the first one. I attempted to switch to Princess Peach to try to fly around those trapeze, but it's not gonna happen. Peach runs too slow. Well, I'm afraid to tell you that the very first level cannot be completed while carrying Luigi. Now this is pretty sad, but I say we keep on playing to see how many levels can be cleared anyways. Star-2 is up, and it's full of platforms flipping sides, and while this is very scary, if you time your jumps, you can always make it alive without falling down. This section with the boost platform is terrifying, but possible. And if everything else fails, just jump on the side part of those platforms to make it to the end. Star-3 is filled to the brim with those rolling platforms that you have to move around to advance further in the stage. Thankfully, even while carrying Luigi, Mario still runs at the same fast speed, so you'll never fall down if you keep running. Star-4 is a very original level where the flagpole actually runs away from you. Now this is pretty cool. Keep running after that flagpole and wait until it moves over there and then throw Luigi to stop it instantly. Whoa, a level where carrying Luigi actually makes the whole thing easier? Now this is epic! Star Dash 5 is a blast from the past, with the Super Mario 3D Land music, the Tanuki suit, and everything. Thankfully, it highly relies on having bombs and other enemies break bricks and blocks for you, so you can do all of that while carrying Luigi around. If you need to hit a block or whatever, well, just drop the dude for a second there and grab him back afterwards. Star Dash 6 is a top-down shooter type of level where you're normally meant to grab a boomerang flower and defeat tons of enemies with it. Sadly for us, we cannot really do that while carrying Luigi, and dropping him is highly dangerous, as the screen scrolls quite fast and you might leave him behind, which would make us fail the challenge. Thankfully, even if you do not use boomerang flowers, well, you can just dodge the enemies and hazards on the way to make it to the end without much problem. Star Dash 7 starts off in a jungle that's very easy to navigate through. Once you reach the checkpoint, you'll be in for quite a treat. Oh, an underwater section, yay! Now, for those unfamiliar with this challenge, underwater sections are the worst, because you cannot carry Luigi around and instead have to rely on pushing him really slowly. Yeah, really slowly. It works, sure, but it is really inefficient. Especially near this part where there are spike blocks up there and a water jet that pushes Luigi upwards. I suggest pushing him to the top over there to dodge those. Once you reach this part over here, just jump out of the water and grab a Mega Mushroom to break all of those spiky blocks on your path. This will make your life 10 times easier, trust me. Once you reach this part, quickly swim to the green pipe and Luigi will teleport and follow you. Your biggest threat in this stage here is time. You'll probably run out of time if you attempt to do the whole level in one go, but if you die and start over from the checkpoint with a full timer, well, you'll be able to do it. Star Dash 8 takes place in the snow and contains 5 key tokens to find. Some of those tokens are well hidden, but carrying Luigi around doesn't make it any more difficult. You'll soon get all of the star tokens, move on to that raft and make your way to the end, so no worries. Star Dash 9 starts off on this arrow platform that only moves when you step on it. With all of the cannonballs and dry bones, this part can be quite annoying, but it is possible nonetheless. Do some epic gamer jumps on those cannonballs and then enter this green pipe, only to be met with yet another underwater section. Except this one is an auto-scrolling one, and despite all of my efforts, I just couldn't push Luigi fast enough. And even if I managed to do it, well, this next part contains blocks and forces you to swim up, which is something we cannot do with Luigi. Sadly, this stage is not possible. Mushroom Dash 1 is a remake of the Rolling Hills level, except it's nighttime and hills are rolling way faster. Oh, and you have a strict time limit as well. The first part can be completed without any problem, but as soon as you reach this underground cave, you'll be faced with a split path. The bottom part is full of bricks, and breaking them if you have no power-ups is impossible. So I actually went for the top part, which contains those 2 spiny skipsqueak. I had to damage boost my way to safety, but after that, it's gonna be easy. Mushroom Dash 2 wants you to collect 5 key tokens and climb up this mountain, which is going to be quite difficult while carrying Luigi, but also possible if you avoid all of the enemies and hazards on the way. Sadly, the final key token is onto the highest part of the mountain on top of a tree, and you cannot really climb up there with Luigi, because if Luigi does grab onto a tree, well, he'll be stuck there forever. I managed to throw Luigi over there and was hoping the screen would stretch far enough for me to be able to grab the final key token, but that is not the case. No matter what I did, Luigi ended up being teleported to me in a bubble, which is actually against the rules. Sadly, this stage is not possible because of that. Mushroom Dash 3 normally wants you to grab a flashlight and use it to defeat the evil boos on the way, but since we're carrying Luigi around, we'll have to do without. It is possible to make your way through this stage by being careful and also avoiding the ghosts, but when you reach the final part, you'll be surrounded by 3 thick boos and have to defeat them to finish the stage. I actually thought this part was impossible, but it turns out you can just give Luigi a flashlight and then carry him around, and with that new trick obtained, this level can be done. Mushroom Dash 4 is a 2D level where you need to hit Goombas with a boomerang flower to make a teleporter box appear and clear it. Just drop Luigi, use your flower, and that's it. It's super easy and will be done in no time. Mushroom Dash 5 is quite annoying to do because you need to use the gamepad's touchscreen quite a lot, and doing so while holding the Y button down is really annoying. You'll also need to blow into the mic to get rid of those purple block enemies. But once you manage to do all of those things at once, you'll easily reach the end and make your way to the top of the flagpole. Mushroom Dash 6 contains a couple of narrow planks you have to walk carefully on, but you'll be all good if you take your time. This final part wants you to bully the bullies by pushing them to their doom, and this is quite annoying to do with Luigi, so just put him over there, grab the Mega Mushroom, and clear the way, and you'll be all done. Mushroom Dash 7 is full of scary jumps to do, but this level is nice enough to give you a Tanuki suit, which is more than welcome to be able to make it to the end alive and well. World Flower Dash 1 is a very easy stage, wanting you to walk on those blue tiles to activate them and move to the next parts, but you can just use the touch screen and cheat your way to victory. Flower Dash 2 wants you to move to the top of this tower that is full of evil fuzzies ready to eat you alive, and with those water bricks on the way, there's not much we can do. I did manage to hit the invisible block over there and did try this strategy where I would throw Luigi onto the spike platform only to jump there myself and then attempt to throw him up this cloud, but I just couldn't throw him high enough. It looks like it might be possible, but I just couldn't do it myself. Flower Dash 3 is more annoying than it is difficult, because it's full of evil plants on the way, and defeating them without using a power-up because you're holding Luigi can be quite annoying. Thankfully, it is possible to make it to the end by just being careful. Flower Dash 4 has a very strict time limit, forcing you not to waste a single second. Grab as many clocks on the way if you want to make it far, and make sure to defeat those fire bros first to get to the end quickly. I sadly ran out of time a couple of times, but eventually got the perfect run and made it to the end. Flower Dash 5 is pretty dumb and really easy. Just run through this big field up until you make it over there, and then climb into this clear pipe by using those cloud platforms over there. You'll reach the top of the mountain and also the end of this easy stage. Don't worry, your screen is not broken. Flower Dash 6 is a level that is all in black and white, to make it more spoopy, I suppose. Since it's a haunted house stage, be ready for lots of fake doors, fake flagpoles, flying couches, and all sorts of dumb les epic troll stuff. Thankfully, reaching the end is not made any more difficult because we're carrying my boy Luigi around. Flower Dash 7 is next, and, well, as you can see, it takes place underwater. There's not much we can do, and pushing Luigi will only get us so far. Nope, this one is not possible. Flower Dash 8 contains those beat blocks that appear and vanish really quickly. Thankfully, the game gives you a sexy Tanuki suit, so it is really helpful to make it to the flagpole. The final slide is super fun to do too. Stay close to the middle part and you'll be done in no time. Flower Dash 9 contains lots of enemies to defeat on this beautiful beach. Your time is very limited though, so grab some power-ups, drop Luigi, and clear those enemies as fast as you can to beat this stage. Just make sure to bring Luigi around while moving from one enemy stack to the next though. Flower Dash 10 is yet another top-down shooter stage, and the same simple rules that apply to the previous level apply here. Be peaceful, avoid the enemies, and carry Luigi to the end. Flower Dash 11 is a stage that is full of spikes and is actually pretty scary, but it's not that difficult if you avoid those spotlights. The ending will force you to do some well-timed jumps above the spikes on a moving platform, but we've seen worse stuff in other levels, so don't panic. Flower Dash 12 is a boss rush, and if you watch the previous videos in this series, then you'll already know that all of the bosses in Super Mario 3D World can be defeated while carrying Luigi around. Just make sure you do it fast enough, as you have a very limited amount of time to beat all of those bosses, and then you'll be all good. World Crown Dash Box is up, and in this one there are multiple challenges you can do to gather green stars. But sadly, just like some other box stages we did, some of those green stars cannot be obtained. And for that reason, I will count this stage as not possible, but it's kind of an optional stage anyway, so meh. Welcome to World Crown Dash Crown, the final stop of the day, the Champion's Road. If you're familiar with Super Mario 3D World, then you know this level is really difficult. There's no checkpoints, there's lots of scary jumps, and doing it without a power-up is one heck of a task. The first couple parts can actually be done if you time your jump carefully and if you take your time. I have to admit that the beat block staircase part is terrifying and took me so many tries to beat. Once you finally get to the top, you'll have 3 Magic Koopas to defeat, which isn't too difficult. This next part is usually made easier by carrying Bob the Piranha Plant around to eat the fuzzies, but we'll have to leave Bob alone this time around. Goodbye, my friend. Thankfully, you can actually beat it without Bob. But then you'll reach this. You're normally meant to wall jump your way to the top, but we cannot do wall jumps with Luigi in our hands. I even tried to clear this part using Princess Peach's glide ability, but it didn't work either. Anyways, even if we manage to clear it, as soon as you reach this part, well, you're meant to swim in this water bubble that moves left and right. And as you know, we cannot actually do that with Luigi. Sadly, this level is not possible. So, is it possible to beat the special stages in Super Mario 3D World while carrying Luigi around? No, it is not possible, sadly. But out of all 30 special stages we attempted, we were able to beat 23 and only 7 were not possible, which is still a pretty decent score.